Hello everybody, this is General Snivy and welcome to my new Let's Play. Or more or less a replay of a game I've done before. But now it's presented to you all in the stream format because I wanted to. Welcome everyone to Let's Play Sly 2 Band of Thieves, aka the replay of said game. Several years ago, or more or less many years ago, I can't tell if it's been 10 years or more. Regardless, I played this game quite a while ago, like a really long time ago. It was like one of those Let's Plays that were done on the original PlayStation 2 version of said game. So, for this replay, I'm playing the PlayStation 3 version of the game via the Sly Collection, and just like before, this will be a 100% playthrough, and hopefully things will not only look better, but also play better too. I did have a few problems back in the day when I was first doing Sly 2 Band of Thieves, but those days are far behind me, so with a new game and a new beginning, let's see what we can do. Before we start, let's first off change the invert turret controls. I think I'll turn that on. Binocucom controls, I'm going to turn that on. And all other effects are basically the same, other than camera. I'm going to change that to inverted. And if things are still kind of wonky and out of whack, I will make changes accordingly. So with that in mind, let's start a new game. And we're going to choose the first save file. What? We're going to choose the first save file because, according to this General Snivy profile I have on my PlayStation 3, it has not played Sly 2 Band of Thieves. At least on the PlayStation 3. So, let's begin.
This is Peking Duck. I hear you, Blizzard.
No, Sly, I'm the wizard, and you're sitting duck.
I read you loud and clear, Lizard.
No, I'm... Forget it, you're not taking this seriously.
Yeah, I'm not. Look, Bentley, I know this is your first time out in the field, but you've gotta loosen up. If we're gonna get to those Clockwork parts, I need you on your toes. So in plain talk, what's your status?
I've established myself in the basement, and I'm pretty sure I can rewire the service elevator if you can power it up from that security station.
Hang tough, pal. It might take some time, but I'll figure out a way to get up there.
Okay, welcome to Sly 2 Band of Thieves, folks. In this game, it's basically the same as the first, although it is improved majorly in many aspects. For one, Sly now has a health bar rather than a one-hit death system. So, that is awesome. What's more is that, by default, instead of running around at the speed of sound, he's sneaking around like a thief should. So, that's pretty sweet. However, if you want to run at a full Mach speed, just push and hold the R1 button and you're all set. I was thinking that the R2 button would do the same sort of thing, but no, it doesn't. Also, back in the day when I first did a Let's Play of this game, this was a replacement for a Let's Play I canceled back in the day because, well, it was not handled very well. Let's just say that. And if you were around back in the day, and you've watched the original Let's Play when it first aired, you know exactly which one I'm talking about. But for those of you who don't, this was back when I first attempted to do a Let's Play of The Last Remnant. I first started the playthrough on Xbox 360 and then later switched to PC. But my laptop could not handle the game very well, so it was an utter mess. Let's just say that. Thankfully, I later came back and redid the playthrough, and it turned out a hell of a lot better than its original state, that's for sure. So with that in mind, let's get going. So the plot here is, this takes place shortly after the events of the first Sly Cooper game. With the events of the first game, we defeated Clockwork and managed to restore all the pages to the Thieves Raccoonus. And as a result, we were tipped off that all the Clockwork parts were stored here in the museum. So the reason why we're here is so we can get those parts and just destroy it before Clockwork is revived. That's our goal. So, here we go.
Okay, I spliced the wires. Ouch! Hold on. There it is.
Hey, Bentley. Good to see you.
Okay. Let me at that security computer. The spotlights are offline.
Cool. Next.
There goes the laser security system. I'm working on the security gate. Presto, all clear.
Thanks, pal. For your first time out, you did pretty well.
Oh, this operation is far from complete. Now that the laser's spotlights are offline, Murray should be moving into position for your rendezvous. I'll stay here and provide computer support while you go on ahead.
Sounds good to me. Might as well keep an eye on that security system. You may never know if it ends up activating a failsafe and then coming back online. That's the last thing we need to do, especially for a operation such as this, which is absolutely paramount that we stay as stealthy as possible as I run around smashing everything in sight. So, if you guys remember in the first Sly Cooper, whenever we find or smash objects, we can find coins just lying around about. Sometimes they even...
Attention all guards, this is the network administrator. We're installing some new software into the security mainframe, so don't be alarmed if some systems get turned off for a while. Thank you. You're all doing a great job.
Nice one, Bentley. Way to pose as a frickin' IT technical support team. More or less an IT network administrator. Oh, Bentley. You truly are something else. No wonder why they call you the brains of the Sly Cooper gang. But anyway, as I was saying before, coins are different this time around. You can still collect them and everything like that. However, they serve an entirely different purpose. Unlike the first game where you would use coins and gather 100 to get an extra life, in this game, coins are currency. And the currency is used to buy upgrades for the Cooper gang and basically anything on the ThiefNet, which will be coming into play within the first episode. Yeah, this is an episodic adventure. Thankfully, it's a full-fledged game and not split into multiple parts, like i.e. Sonic the Hedgehog 4 Episodes 1 and 2, or the Final Fantasy VII Remake. Just saying. Alright, let's get moving. On to the next part.
According to my information, the Clockwork parts are being stored up there. Now to get access, you're gonna have to meet up with Murray at the rendezvous point. Unfortunately, the route through the garden is filled with guards.
No problem. I'll just take the long way around.
If memory serves, you need to jump and hit the circle button to run along ropes.
Very true. So, since this is a continuation of the first Sly Cooper game, many moves that you learned in the first adventure are transferred over to the second game and are available at the start. However, there are some exceptions, such as invisibility. You can't do that, and you can't manipulate time and space. That just makes the game far too easy. Just saying. Those are fun abilities, don't get me wrong, but there is a time and a place for those kinds of abilities, and it's not here. This is not exactly the most realistic of games, after all. I mean, it's a freaking raccoon and the freaking turtle and the hippopotamus working together to,
Murray must have
commit...
gotten lost along the way. Try pressing on ahead without him.
Sure, Bentley, no problem. I'm sure we'll be able to figure something out in due time. Oh, sweet. A red cross. Well, as I've mentioned earlier, the, Oh, hi, Murray. Welcome back. Glad you can make it.
Greetings, citizen. I hope you weren't harmed by my meteoropic entrance.
No, Murray, I kept at a safe distance.
Good, good. The Thunderflop knows neither friend nor foe, only destruction.
Yeah, could you maybe channel some of that raw energy into the security gate?
Of course. It is nothing before the Murray.
Sounds good to me. But anyway, as I was trying to say, the red crosses, they will refill your health if you happen to take damage from enemy fire and basically anything under the sun. And they restore a good chunk of health for each pickup you find. I think about a quarter of your health for every cross you find. But even so, figure I'd mention it. Alright, off we go.
Okay, all clear.
Thanks, Murray. Thanks for the lift. Alright, let's get going. We still got quite a bit of work to do.
Another barrier stands before you. Fear not, I shall bend it like the truth.
Who is he, a freaking politician?
Solid work, Murray. You're really in the zone.
My hulking frame is too much for that puny rope. You go ahead and unlock the doors from the inside. I'll be waiting in the hallway to help you carry out the clockwork parts.
Sounds good to me. Alright, let's get moving. Welcome to our next stop. What the heck? Why are there two sarcophaguses here?
The clockwork part should be here. This is all wrong. We need to pull the plug on this operation right now.
Hello.
Freeze, Cooper.
Inspector Fox. As beautiful and unpredictable as ever.
Whereas you crooks are so predictable. You always return to the scene of the crime.
Crime? I haven't stolen anything. Yet.
Oh, really? Then who broke in last night and made off with all the clockwork parts? You've got the motive.
Someone already stole the parts?
Don't play dumb with me. It might not have been him, Carmelita. The method of entry and guard casualties all point to this being a Claw Gang job.
The Claw Gang?
Constable Neela, I allowed you to sit in on this stakeout as a favor to the Contessa. I really don't need any help. Oh, I think you might. Look at the facts. Facts? Sly Cooper is right here. I caught him red-handed. I'm just saying that there are other criminals in the world other than... Sly Cooper! After him!
Well, crap.
Hold still!
Well, this definitely turned out to be the shits for the birds.
Shake a leg, Murray. It's time to go.
Oh dear.
Freeze!
This wasn't part of the plan.
Yeah, well, this is where things get fun.
Indeed they do. They get quite fun from here. Alright, anything else?
This is getting a little hot. You guys go warm up the van. I'll keep Carmelita busy.
You're all going to jail.
Pick me up at the rendezvous.
Oh dear. Looks like the police had this place completely locked down. I'm surprised that there's no SWAT team here.
You can't run forever.
No kidding. How about sending in the frickin' army or SWAT team to help you and your frickin' cause, Carmelita, instead of trying to do everything all vigilante and try to do everything on your own?
Hey, come back
Seriously.
here, Ringtail.
Okay. Well, Carmelita isn't exactly making the most sense right now. It appears that our operation was a complete utter failure. Oh, dang.
Jumping fast so we can get out of here.
No kidding. Let's go.
Still. over!
Carmelita's just as angry as ever. She's really quite lovely when she's angry. That Constable Neela, was a reference to the Claw Gang just a slip of the tongue, or an intentional clue? Either way, it's our only lead on the missing Clockwork parts. Clockwork. He was consumed with jealousy for the Cooper clan's thieving reputation. Is it inappropriate to refer to him as a monster? No, not at all. What kind of person stays alive for hundreds of years with the express intention of wiping out a rival's family line? Imagine the hatred fueling that first decision to replace his mortal body with soulless machinery. Ultimately, it did the trick. Clockwork lived on. He caught up with my parents, and I wound up in an orphanage. It's there that I met my pals, Bentley, the brains of our outfit, and Murray, the brawn. They turned out to be all the family I needed. 2 years ago, I thought I'd finished it. How naive to think I could so easily put an end to that kind of hatred. And now he's back. In pieces, sure, but the threat is real. Does the Claw Gang even realize what they've stolen? I don't know what's in my future, but I won't let it be a repeat of my past.
So that's basically the recap of the events of the first game and what leads up to this very moment. Also, welcome to the stream, Shawaria Mox. And now the game's telling us about the autosave feature that's in the game. This was also available in the original PlayStation 2 version as well, and it has the same exact icon. So whenever you see the Thievius Raccoonus icon appear, just do not turn off your PS3, or if you're playing the PlayStation 2 version, don't do that, and or do not unplug the memory card. Otherwise, you will corrupt the data. And corrupting data is not fun to work with at all. Trust me. I've actually had a game where the autosave feature was completely busted. And it ended up corrupting itself multiple times over. So that was real fun to work with. But we'll cross that path when we get to it. So as you can see here, after we completed the intro episode here, we're now given a episode menu. So our first episode that's really only available to us is episode 1. So with that in mind, let's begin episode 1, The Black Tattoo. I think that's how you say it. I could be wrong. Regardless, let's begin.
I had to call in a few favors to get the goods on the Claw Gang's local operator, Dimitri, a sort of underworld celebrity, equally at home in high-class art circles and shady back-alley crimes. He was once a passionate young art student who worked hard to develop his own visionary style. Unfortunately, the art world wasn't quite ready for his kinetic aesthetic. So he gave them what they wanted, and started forging old masterpieces. His way of punishing those with bad taste. Dimitri now runs a nightclub on the west side. The thumping music, colorful light shows, and a hint of danger lure in chic young patrons from far and wide. And it's here, hidden somewhere, where we'll find the Clockwork tail feathers. What Dimitri plans to do with the Clockwork part is beyond me, but those plans end tonight.
Okay, welcome to episode 1, everyone. No, that was not an intentional rhyme. Just stating the obvious. So my goal for each play session is to complete at least one episode per session. And I mean complete it completely. So what I mean by this is, unlike the last time I handled this game, where I went through the entire game and just worried about collecting clues and stuff at the end of the playthrough, what I've decided to do is I'm going to do as much as I can for each and every single episode with the moveset and everything else that I have up at this very point in the game. So I'm going to be going for not only all the missions, but also all the clues that are scattered throughout the worlds. And after I find them all, I'll open up the safe, grab the move that's hidden in there, and bada bing bada boom. Yeah, actually I saw that update on Twitter not that long ago from Slim Kirby himself. I even went in DM with him and asked him what was going on and what happens when he tried to use it. I wasn't around for the actual play session for when that happened. And I did what I could to possibly try to fix it, or try to essentially assist him in fixing it. Since I'm not exactly a mechanical engineer of any kind whatsoever, or more or less a electrical engineer, there wasn't a whole lot I could do to really help him, unfortunately.
It's gonna be a real pleasure robbing this nightclub.
I share in your enthusiasm, but before we hit the inside, we'll need to do a little reconnaissance work.
What do you have in mind?
I've installed this special antenna on the safe house to help with our first job, hacking into Dimitri's satellite array. The coordinates for the job start beacon have been uploaded to your binocucom. Make your way to this position, and I'll give you a full briefing on our objective.
I'm on my way.
Okay. Now then, getting back to what I was saying before with the whole Slim Kirby situation. I did everything I could on my end to possibly...
If you click the L3 button, press the left analog stick, I'll beam some virtual markers into your thief mask. They'll help you find your way around. If no markers are in view, use the right analog stick to move the camera and look around for them. Remember, the view is always better from the rooftops.
Very true. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Actually, I think we'll be getting into that in just a second.
Fascinating. The message you just found appears to be some sort of clue. I'll decipher it here in the safe house. In the meantime, see if you can find any more clues. The more I have, the easier it'll be to crack the code.
Okay. That's awesome. Anyway, back to the whole Slim Kirby thing again. Like I said, I did everything I could to try to help him, but to no avail. I was thinking of maybe offering one of my own 3DS capture devices, but I'm not too sure how Mom would feel about me sending off one of my systems to a stranger. I mean, it's like I do know Slim Kirby, but not personally. I only know him through his YouTube presence, and that's really about it. I never actually met the guy in person. So, yeah, that kind of is out the window for right now. Unless he really needs one, I can always let him borrow it. But right now, I'm sure he'll be able to figure something out eventually. He's a smart dude. We're all very smart here on the YouTube space, as well as Twitch as well. Just saying. We'll all figure something out here, one way or another. Uh-oh. Okay, so since this game emphasizes stealth in many aspects, you may find enemies just roaming around about. And if the character icon starts flashing, that means you have been spotted. For small enemies, you can take them out with relative ease. However, the bigger enemies that are carrying around flashlights and the like, yeah, don't fight them. Instead, run for the hills, run for your life. Trust me. Along with the enemies just roaming around about, if you sneak up behind them, you can actually steal some items from them, such as this, a bronze comb. So, as you're sneaking around about, you can get behind enemies and steal items from them. I believe you can get a good number of coins from each and every single enemy. If you pickpocket them like about twice, you'll get some coins. The third time, you get an item. Now then, when it comes to the items in this game in particular, the items that you find range in variety from bronze, silver, and gold. The gold items are obviously the most valuable of items. Now, unlike Sly 3 Honor Among Thieves, you have to actually return to the safe house and sell the items that you've stolen manually, which is kind of a pain in the butt, but it is something that you kind of have to keep in mind in order to make money in this game. Pickpocketing a lot of enemies that are just roaming around about, doing their patrols and everything, it's the best way of getting money, other than whacking around the environment. There is also another sort of control scheme I haven't really talked about yet, and that is the stealth takedowns. Bentley will go into this, I think during the first mission. But this is how it works. Essentially, you have to get behind the enemy, hit triangle to do an uppercut against the enemy's back, and then quickly push the square button to slam them to the ground. This is essentially a two-hit kill move. However, it does make quite a bit of noise. So... oh dear. Well, this isn't good. Was not expecting this. It's also very easy to whiff the stealth move, so that is something you need to keep in mind as you're going around about. And also, if you have not pickpocketed any enemies that come charging in to try to avenge their fallen comrades, you can't get any items of which they may or may not be carrying. Also, after you get a certain amount of money, or whatever, you get a trophy for it. It's a bronze trophy, but it's a nice trophy nonetheless. Speaking of trophies, they were added to the PlayStation 3 version of the game. And I'm pretty sure they're all straightforward and will be earning them over the course of the game. So, that's pretty sweet. Okay. Let's do a little bit more looking around and then we'll start the operation, or at least the first mission here. And as Bentley mentioned before, each and every mission is indicated by a character icon. Just touch the icon to begin the mission and you're all set. However, the missions are character specific. So if you say find an emblem that is Bentley's icon, for example, or even Murray's, and you're playing as Sly, you cannot do that mission as Sly Cooper. You have to use one of those characters instead. So, essentially, if you want to switch characters, you have to return to the safe house. And then switch characters that way. Figure I'd mention it. Alright, let's begin.
Sly, I need you to hack into Dimitri's communication array so that we'll have access to his database.
How am I supposed to do that?
To start, you'll need to get to the top of that tower. Then reposition the satellite dish to point at my safe house antenna. If you want to climb on stuff, jump and hit the circle button to grab hold. Try climbing up that pipe.
Right. Jump and press the circle button to climb pipes. I'm on it.
Okay, cool. So our first mission is just to climb and point the satellite dishes up to Bentley's safe house. And it's as simple as pushing a couple buttons.
Near interactive objects like this satellite dish. When you're near these markers, press the circle button to use the object. Great, the first one's in position. I've uploaded the next waypoint into your leaf mask image. Remember, click the L3 button to locate your next objective.
Okay, thanks, Bentley. So, as Bentley mentioned, as you're going about and doing these missions and everything, your objectives are marked via the Binocucom If there's no marker indicated, just head to the rooftops and pull out the Binocucom yourself, and you should be able to find them with ease. And sometimes it's better to just not do that and instead head to the roof and just simply push L3 to activate it. One thing that's definitely worth mentioning is that your cane, despite it being Sly's weapon of choice, it's basically an extension of yourself. So if you see something that's a bit far out of reach, all you have to do is just whack in the general area and you should be able to get the item that's there. Okay. Another thing that you can use to help you find clues that are lying around about in the world is sound cues. The bottles themselves are animated and they bounce around as if they're alive. Kind of weird if you think about it, but it's actually true. As you're moving around, listen for the bouncing bottles and you should be set. You should be good to go as far as finding all the clues are concerned. Though it may not be a 100% accurate representation of where the bottles actually are. But they'll help you in the general vicinity of where they're located. And once you touch them, i.e. by just simply doing just that, or by whacking them with your cane, you have collected that clue. Oh, for Pete's sake. I guess the timing was off ever so slightly. One more thing worth noting is if you happen to get into a fight with multiple enemies at once and you feel like you're getting overwhelmed, there's no shame in running away and living to fight another day. It's better to stay alive and run with your tail between your legs than it is to be a dead man. Especially when it comes to bigger enemies later on. Trust me. Stealth is basically the name of the game, just minus the heart attacks. For anyone who's played... No duh, Bentley. Anyway, as I was trying to say before he rudely interrupted me, for anyone who's played Metal Gear Solid knows what kind of heart attacks I'm talking about here. And no, it is not plot-driven. Not plot-driven. I'm just saying. I'm just stating the obvious facts. Okay. Boop. There's satellite dish number 2. Next.
Okay, only one more to go. Activate your thief mask imager by pressing the L3 button to find the last dish waypoint. Remember, the view is always better from a rooftop.
I know that, Bentley. I know that for a dang fact.
Hold down the R1 button while walking to break into a fast run, but be careful, as this is sure to be loud enough to alert any guards in the vicinity.
Very true. So, yeah, this was a very simple first mission. Just move around and activate satellites. Boom, and done. There we go. Job complete.
Nice work, Sly.
Sly's hat's
Now
missing.
loading from Dimitri's
Nice.
mainframe as we speak.
All in a night's work. So, where do we go from here?
Your next job is to break into the nightclub and take some reconnaissance photos of the Clockwork tail feathers. To get inside, you'll have to sneak through an old wine cellar beneath town.
Okay, I'll head up for the cellar.
Okay, well, apparently sometimes when you're in cutscenes, Sly's hat comes off. It's only temporarily. As soon as you're out of the cutscene and you start moving, then the hat will appear right back on. Perhaps it's because the cutscene triggers at the same time as Sly's regular idle animation, so sometimes the hat may just pop off at random. But again, not a big deal. It's just a visual kind of gag, and it was also present in the original PlayStation 2 release too. However, that was also only temporarily, and sometimes it even pops right back on in the middle of the cutscene. So I figure I'd throw that out there. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started with our next job right after we collect this clue that's over here. There is one more thing worth noting too, and that is... Oh crap. Well, I figured as much. Dang it. Bottle capped. Nice trophy. Perhaps that's a signification that I collected most of the clues in this episode. 20 out of 30 clues, so that's roughly... I have no idea. About 80% maybe. I'm not sure what the actual percentage number is, but regardless, it is a pretty decent amount nonetheless. Okay, next mission, here we go.
Good to see you, little buddy. I guess the way through the wine cellar is guarded by those rats. Bentley thought you might like some help clearing them out.
Sounds like fun. You and me, back to back?
Totally. Outnumbered, fighting impossible odds. It's perfect.
All right, pal. Let's get to it.
Let's have some fun and
Heads
fight.
up, if you leave this area, you'll abandon your current job.
Okay, well, thanks for the info, Bentley. So, as Bentley was saying, if you're in the middle of an operation or in the middle of a job, and you exit the area or return to the safe house during that job, you abandon the mission. And if you abandon it, you can just simply go back to the original waypoint and restart the mission. So, don't abandon the mission unless it's absolutely necessary. So, let's go. Hello there, buttholes. Let's dance! So, fighting.
Hold on, Sly. Let me lower those bars for you. There you go. To get over this thing, you'll have to double jump. Hit the X button to jump, then, while in the air, press it again to get some extra air time. Looks like you're on your own from here.
I'm used to it. Thanks for the help.
Anytime, partner.
Okay. So after that little fight sequence, we're given a small tutorial on how to execute double jumps. It's the same exact way as it worked in the first game. Also, you may have noticed throughout the hub area, and even in here, you see these blue sparkles underneath or right by tables. If you push the circle button, you'll go into a first-person view, and you will be able to crawl underneath the tables. The tables can be useful for hiding from enemies if they happen to be anywhere within your general vicinity. If you happen to just crawl underneath of it and just let them pass by, you can knock them out that much more easily. Alright, let's go. Now then, the laser system. I haven't really talked about the lasers yet, but they work,
In order to get past these lasers, you need to crawl under that table. To do that, get near the table and press the circle button.
Okay. Well then, I just went over that. Anyway, back to what I was saying before, the lasers, how they work in this game is, unlike the first game where they are typically yellow, and after you trip one, they then turn red, and then become deadly. In this game, they're always deadly, no matter what. Do not touch them, otherwise you will be burnt to a crisp. Just saying, that's not fun.
These flashlight guards are too tough to fight head-on. Crawl under the tables to sneak around him.
Sounds fun. Good night. So, when it comes to the big guards, one thing you need to keep in mind is stealth takedowns are the best ways of taking them out. If you try to fight them head on, you will die. Unless you're Murray, in which case you can fight them with relative ease. because Murray is the brawn of the group. So that's pretty sweet. And also try not to get spotted. Please. Don't. Well, that sucked. Alright, let's try again then. I didn't think that the flashlight extended that far. Oh well. If you end up failing a mission or something to that extent, i.e. by dying or just by failing the objective, you'll just be booted back to the previous checkpoint. So, thankfully checkpoints in every single mission are frequent. There are frequent checkpoints and they're basically everywhere. So, not a big deal if you happen to fail something and fail miserably. And if you do end up going back to a checkpoint, any coins that you've collected along the way, you get to keep those. Plus, I think you get a health refill too. So, that's also really nice. It's not like, say, another game series where checkpoints are also frequent, but whatever state the game was in is what the checkpoint is in. Just saying. Also, this mission is considered a training mission for whatever reason. Boom. Okay.
This air vent leads into Dimitri's nightclub. Hit the circle button to crawl inside.
I knew that, Bentley. We've been crawling under tables for all this time. Yet the air vents, we can just simply crawl in, no problem.
Shut down those yellow lasers, you'll need to take out that guard. Sneak up behind him and press the triangle button to knock him into the air.
Like this?
The
Boom!
square button to slam and finish him off. Got that? The triangle button, then the square button.
Okay, so, as I've mentioned earlier, that moment is when Bentley tells you about the stealth takedown system and how it works. And it's honestly the best way of getting rid of, big guard enemies with flashlights. Seriously, you will love this system, you will get used to it. I mean, if you...
That sneak attack slam move only works on guards who haven't seen you. Wait until this guy turns his back, and then let him have it.
Very true. Good night. So as Bentley was saying, if a guard has already spotted you, the stealth takedown move will not work, and it'll just only be a waste of time. So that is something worth mentioning. And it also makes quite a bit of noise too, so if another guard is around, be sure to book it after doing the stealth takedown, so that way you're not spotted.
If you get in a fight with those rats, the sneak attack won't work. It's purely a stealth move.
Very true. Well, that sucked. Oh well. I'm sure we'll be able to continue just fine. Though it is going to be a little bit of a pain to get through this. Thankfully, since this is early game, there's plenty of health pickups, and even enemies drop health pickups very often. So that is something worth mentioning and keeping in mind. As we go further and further into the game, it will become harder to manage your health, as health pickups will become more and more scarce. So, try not to be reckless and get spotted too often, otherwise you'll be sending yourself to an early grave faster than Sonic the Hedgehog can run around the world. Just saying, that's not fun. That's not a fun time. And it also ruins your day, too.
Aha! Another air vent. Judging by that angle, it should lead to the printing press room.
Sounds cool. Let's go in.
Jackpot! The heart of Dimitri's operation. Head for those windows and take some reconnaissance photos.
Sounds fun.
Tap the R3 button. You know, click the right analog stick.
Just a second. First off, I need to change the, no, not that. Options. Here we go. Invert binoculum and turret controls. I think I'll turn those off. That way,
To bring up your binoculum, it's already outfitted with a spy cam. Sly, use the right analog stick to zoom in and out on photo targets. Tap the R1 button to take a picture when you've got a good shot.
sounds cool.
Ingenious. Dimitri's using the Clockwork tail feathers as printing plates. Given their rare alloy, they'll never wear out. Unlimited forged money. That generator seems to be powering the security systems down here.
I'm not too sure, but I feel as though when the original PlayStation 2 released, instead of the pictures being static, they actually zoom out a little bit. Hello, Dimitri.
That's our target, Dimitri, professional lounge lizard and international forger. That should do it, Sly. Head back to the safe house and we'll cook up a plan of attack.
Sounds good. Now that we have all the necessary information, let's figure out what we need to do next.
The recon photos are a grim reminder of what the modern thief is up against. Spotlights, stepped-up patrols. The sum of it all renders a direct assault impossible. To solve this puzzle, I'm going to need some more intelligence. First, replace this bugged painting with one Dimitri has in his office. Once in place, we should be able to listen in on his communications. Second, if you see the boss, tail him. We might learn something from studying his movements. Once we've got a proper understanding of the operation, those Clockwork tail feathers are as good as ours.
Ooh, sounds easy enough. And I like the way you think, buddy. I really do. Okay, now then, before we move on, let's go ahead and sell that and buy our first upgrade. Let's buy Sly's first upgrade, the smoke bomb. Obscure the vision of your enemies for a hasty getaway. Let's purchase it. Each and every single upgrade are tied to specific characters, such as the trigger bomb. This one is only available for Bentley, while the smoke bomb is only available for Sly. Each and every single upgrade is tailored to each of the three characters and costs a different amount each time. At some point in the game, we will have to purchase certain abilities and upgrades in order to do certain missions. So be sure to keep a good helping of cash in hand, so that way you have money for later operations and missions. Alright, now that that's done, let's return to the field.
Hey, Sly, you can bring up your binoculum by pressing the R3 button. You know, the right analog stick that adjusts the camera. Click it to look through your binoculars. They'll be useful for finding the new job starts I've placed around town. Plus, they'll let you read the job titles.
Very true. So, at this point now, this is where the game becomes kind of non-linear. So now we can choose whatever mission we can take on, and we can take them on in any order we see fit. So if you see a job that's close to your general vicinity and it's for another character, feel free to switch out and switch to that character temporarily until you get that job done. So that's fun. And also at this point now, things are really going to start heating up, as the big guards with flashlights, they're now going to be roaming around the streets. So stealth is absolutely paramount against these guys. Also, they're very likely to have items under their possession. So, please, feel free to pickpocket them as you see fit. just keep in mind, though, sometimes you may not get lucky and get the item that you want. Or any item at all, for that matter. Like, the first pickpocket I managed to do was basically all luck. Oh, pfft.
I just intercepted an email from Dimitri. He's ordered his guards to ring the boat's bell when the coast is clear.
Coast is clear for what?
Of that, I'm uncertain. Ring the bell and follow him without being seen. Then maybe we'll find out what he's hiding.
Sounds fun. However, oh dear, we're definitely in a load of trouble. Okay. If a big guy happens to spot you, run for the hills like I've mentioned before. And the smoke bomb upgrade is damn near essential if you want to live as Sly. If you happen to get spotted and you're overwhelmed by large enemies, use the smoke bomb to make a quick escape. The smoke bomb, it activates by pushing the assigned button. To activate or access all power-ups that you have in your possession, push the select button and push any of the... You can assign 3 separate power-ups to either L1, L2, or R2. No other buttons are allowed to be assigned because they're already assigned by different control schemes. So, once you finish assigning power-ups, just push the triangle button to exit and return to the game. Whenever you use a power-up, though, it does take a chunk of another bar, which is located underneath of the health bar. The bar is orange, and each power-up takes up a different amount of energy. To restore this power, you just simply find red crosses. They not only restore your health, but also restore your energy, too. So, that's pretty nice. A nice 2-for-1. Okay. Hello, Dimitri. How you doing? I'm leaving here with Roman! If anyone knows what I'm referencing, you get a cookie. Okay, so this task is a relatively simple one. All you have to do is just tail Dimitri without losing sight of him. And also, don't get caught either. Which is pretty easy to not do at all. Just stick to the rooftops and you'll be fine. Just whatever you do, don't let any enemy spot you as you're tailing Dimitri. If you do, you'll fail the mission. So, I figure I'd throw that out there. It's a simple waiting game when it comes to Dimitri. Stick to the roofs, and you're all set. Dimitri can't really spot you if you're on the rooftops. Unless another enemy happens to spot you first. One thing I'll definitely say is I really am a fan of Dimitri's theme. It's one of my favorites in the Sly Cooper series. It's even played during the Sly 3 Honor Among Thieves. I'm not too sure what he's saying right now, but it most likely sounds something like, something that he would normally say. Though I can't really tell what it is.
You'll be able to see what Dimitri is doing from up on that water tower. Go down for a closer view.
Keep it smooth, baby. Walk tall, stand
Good job tailing him, Sly. He had no idea you were watching while he typed in that secret code. Hold on. Looks like that door leads to the nightclub's aqua pump. This might be useful for the heist.
Cool. awesome. Glad we got the intel we needed, and thankfully it went off mostly without a hitch. Also, welcome back, Shawario Mox. To answer your question, this game is, or at least the game I'm playing here from the Sly Collection, is only available on PlayStation 3. At least at this point in time. There may be a PlayStation 4 version coming down the road, but as of right now, only the PS3 version exists. So, it is kind of sucky that only the PS3 version's available for the HD collection, but that's fine. If they're going to remaster the Sly trilogy again for PlayStation 4, they better fix a few things, such as the Miss Ruby boss fight from Sly 1, which is infamous for being out of sync. And also fix framing issues with the game too. So, you may have noticed that there's like some sort of a frame issue when it comes to like certain graphics and stuff of that nature. In Sly 3, for example, the Banaki-Com is not fully framed in in Sly 3, but in Sly 2, it's perfectly framed, perfectly fine. Though I'm not sure why that's not the case on Sly 3, but your guess is as good as mine. Other than that, though, it's really a really dang good remaster of the original Sly trilogy. Though some people may say otherwise. Anyway, a new mission has technically opened up, and this mission can only be taken on as Murray.
This is a job for Murray. Come back to the safe house to switch characters.
Of course. So at this point now, Murray can now be played as... Oh dear. Boop. Well, that most certainly could have gone better. I was hoping maybe I would have been able to activate a stealth kill on him. Guess that's not happening anytime soon. Okay, so at this point now, there is one more job of which Sly can do before we have to switch characters. Unless there's a way to glitch into the job as a character that's not assigned to it. I don't know of any sort of a trickery like that. If that is true, that would be pretty insane. But hey. It's really not a good idea to play unassigned missions with unassigned characters anyway. It might end up crashing the game for all I know. Or just causing a soft lock or some other godforsaken thing. Who knows? Alright, so there's one more job we can do with Sly before we have to switch to Murray. So, let's get started.
Sly, I managed to outfit this forged painting with a bug. I need you to sneak into Dimitri's office and swap it with the original.
Nice. So we'll be able to listen in on his conversations.
Yes, I thought things might go more smoothly with an ear on the inside. Just be careful with the fine art. Take any damage and the painting's ruined.
Okay. Well, with this introduces yet another mechanic that is present throughout the entirety of the game. Throughout the world, you may find objects such as this painting I'm carrying on my back. Since this is technically a quote-unquote training mission, nothing really happens per se if I would take damage, other than resulting in a mission failure. However, in later parts of the game, we may find other objects like this, and all we have to do with them is make it back to the safe house without receiving any damage whatsoever. If we happen to get damaged at any point, then the item is quote-unquote destroyed or ruined, whatever. So stealth is absolutely paramount when it comes to tasks such as this. So try not to cause much of a ruckus if you possibly can. if you cause too much of a ruckus or if you get spotted, the item's basically done for unless you somehow miraculously don't get shot or hit in any way. So, the best way to prevent taking any sort of risks whatsoever to the item on your back, don't get into fights unless it's necessary, or if you feel like living dangerously. Especially when it comes to the big brutes with flashlights. Do not mess with them. I'm honestly surprised I didn't get spotted there. Okay, our objective's over there. Thankfully, the waypoint system works really, really well in this game. And I'm definitely happy about that. So just like with Sly 1, the rooftops are your best friend in order to stay out of sight from enemies. It's honestly the best way to go. Oh crap. Whew, well, that was too close for comfort. Thank God for the frickin' smoke bomb being there to save the day. Honestly, the smoke bomb is my favorite item out of every power-up that you can get for Sly Cooper. I mean, if anything can get you out of a dangerous situation, it's definitely the smoke bomb. It does take quite a bit of energy to use, but trust me, the end result is most definitely worth it. Just try not to use it too often, whatever you do. Otherwise, you'll be out of luck if you happen to run out of energy. Wow, gotta say, this nightclub is looking spunky. I mean, this is Dimitri we're talking about here, folks.
The schematic indicates that door is locked from the inside.
That's all right. I never was one for the direct approach.
Swell, because the indirect approach is way up there through that air vent.
Okay, so our next stop is that air vent over there. However, we're going to have to be a little creative in order to get through this place undetected. If we happen to hop onto the dance floor in this whole nightclub place, we need to be prepared for the absolute worst. As there may be enemies here that are just roaming around about, such as these janitors here. It may seem like they're not really much of a threat because they have brooms. However, I think they can call in bigger guards and everything. So try not to mess with them. Heck, I think if you try to kill anyone in this... Oh, crap. Or get spotted for that matter, it results in a mission failure. I'm honestly surprised he doesn't come in here. Okay, so I was wrong. Apparently, if you don't get spotted, if you do get spotted, it's not a mission failure. It's only a mission failure if you take damage. Alright. There is one more thing worth noting, and that is the water. You can traverse over shallow water, but not deep water, as Sly still cannot swim. If he ends up falling in deep water, then he will receive damage. That's one thing I definitely love about the Sly Cooper series. It can be genuinely funny. Okay, let's swap the paintings and get out of here.
Nice work, Sly. The bug's in position. If you manage to get the original painting back to me in one piece, I could sell it through my internet connections and make us a ton of coins.
Sweet. So with that, job is complete. Now then, we do have a painting on our back. And just like I mentioned before, if you happen to take damage here, then you unfortunately lose the item that's on your back. So in the case of this painting here, I think this is a one-shot opportunity to get some serious cash. However, if you happen to fail and just completely lose the painting, in other words, take damage and you lose it, then it's gone forever. Other items are not as bad as, say, this. But trust me, we definitely want to get out of here in one piece, for sure. Also, you may have noticed that the safe is in this place, too. We'll be back here later once we get all the remaining clues that are scattered throughout this world. So, figured I'd throw that out there.
Spotted by the flashlight guards. If you get caught, you can run away by holding down the R1 button.
Okay. So as Bentley was saying, now that the flashlight guards are out and about, if you happen to get spotted by one, run for the hills. I mentioned it before and I will mention it again. Flashlight guards are a big fat no-no. Do not engage with them unless you're Murray. In that case, have fun. But regardless, if you happen to have something like this on your back, it's best to try to book it back to the safe house right away. Once you drop the item back off at the safe house, then that item is stored and you don't have to worry about losing it. So with this, we get this gold painting here that's worth 232 coins. So not a bad haul overall. So that's pretty sweet. I'm pretty sure I'm going to need this trigger bomb for a future mission. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase this as opposed to the Fists of Flame, which are 400 coins. Now then, let's start playing as Murray. And we even got another trophy, remote trigger. Okay, one more thing worth noting too is as you're hanging around the safe house, you may be able to listen in on the antagonist's conversation with his minions. So, that's pretty neat. So, with Murray here, he is, like I mentioned, the brawn of the group. He can pick fights, take names, and kick ass. Now, unlike the other characters, or unlike Sly in the group, I believe Murray, along with Bentley, are not able to steal coins, and, in other words, be able to pickpocket. Murray and Bentley are not able to pickpocket enemies in this game, and the reason as to why is unknown. But regardless, Sly's the only one who can pickpocket enemies in this game. Don't know why that is? Ask the developers. That was pretty easy enough. Alright, let's begin the mission.
Murray, I need you to make your way back to the aqua pump room and sabotage it.
Jeez, I don't know. How am I supposed to get past these lasers?
You should be able to break that power box by throwing something at it. Press the circle button to use your stomp move near the ice machine to pick up a block of ice. Then press the square button to throw the block at the power box.
Hit the circle button to pick stuff up, and the square button to throw. Got it.
Okay, That seems like a simple enough task. Although you can also use other objects in the room, besides just these blocks of ice that are dispensed in the ice machine
Strong,
here.
Murray. Try picking up other stuff in the room.
Okay. You can basically use anything that you have in the environment to just get through this a lot faster, rather than just use the ice machine. This is also useful.
Knocked out can be picked up with your stomp move. Throw something at that guard, then jump up there and pick him up with the circle button.
Ooh, sounds cool. Bye! Sometimes I just love watching enemies get incinerated by their own security system. Kind of ironic, don't you think? Something that's meant to keep these people out are being used to kill them instead. It's honestly fun to make fun of video game logic occasionally. Although this isn't really video game logic, more so... Well, in this room, I think we need to use these enemies that are constantly... Oh, hello! Shawaria Mox, thanks again for the host, dude. Highly appreciate it. Anyway, as I was trying to say, enemies are going to constantly being, they're going to constantly be pouring out of this room. So what we need to do here is just take, all the enemies that we knock unconscious here, throw them into the drink until the machine explodes.
That did it, Murray. With the aqua pump out of commission, they'll be forced to route water through the old pipe tower. Those fools, they're playing right into our hands.
Awesome. And that was Murray's first job, everyone. Gotta say, pretty simple one, too.
Okay, fellas, I've constructed a plan to get at the Clockwork tail feathers, but we'll need to pull off a few more jobs to set things up for the heist. First, Sly will have to pick a few pockets in the theater so that we'll have access to the Spotlight Control Center. Once that's accomplished, we'll be able to turn off all the security around the printing press. We'll need your muscle, Murray, to take out all the exterior alarm horns. We don't want anything to alert the guards while we pull off the big job. And finally, we'll need to get into the discotheque to drop this mirror ball. Trust me, it's all part of the plan.
Taking names, kicking ass, and blowing things up. That's just the way we roll, and I love it. Now then, okay. Not enough for Fist of Flame yet. Okay, so, we do have a few more jobs to pull off here. I think the first job I'm gonna go ahead and do is gonna be with Murray. Now, Murray and Bentley are not as nimble as Sly at all, so you'll have to be a little more creative if you want to get to the rooftops. Unlike Sly, who can just shimmy up some poles and whatnot, Murray and Bentley can't do that. They just can't. Simple as that. Anyway, the reason why I want to take care of Murray's job first is because, well, Sly has more jobs in this section of episode 1, so we might as well take care of the jobs with the least amount of jobs possible. Now then, I guess one thing worth noting is, though you can try to be sure to come back soon. Anyway, as I was trying to say here, though you can try to pick enemies up, and you can successfully do so, even with like a stealth uppercut and a grab, Though you would normally be able to pickpocket the enemies in Sly 3 using that method and pushing the circle button to do so and shake them all about, you can't do that in this game. Instead, circle just throws the enemies. Why? God only knows. Okay, let's go ahead and start Murray's mission.
Okay, Murray. That alarm horn will tip off Dimitri during our heist. There are 3 of them out here, and I need you to take them out.
Check.
This is going to take some serious muscle, Murray. You're the only guy on the team who can pull this off. Stop to pick things up, then throw it at those alarm horns. Good luck, pal. This could get rough.
Evildoers feel my wrath.
How ironic, since he's technically a thief himself. But anyway, the job here is a pretty simple one. Just pick up any objects that you may find on the field, such as chairs, tables, or even enemies themselves. Pick them up in the air and just carry them. Carry them and throw them against the alarm boxes that are scattered throughout the different parts of the level. Also, for whatever reason, whenever Murray's carrying an enemy, he can't jump. Though I believe he can do so in Sly 3. Not sure why he can't do it here in Sly 2. Perhaps because he's still a little too heavy? Well, regardless, there are 3 alarm boxes scattered throughout this entire area. And each of them are going to take basically the same number of hits to take them down. So, yeah, that's, I guess, pretty interesting, if you can say that. Now, I don't think you can just go outright and punch the boxes yourself. You can't do that. I wish you could, but you can't. Also, newspapers, for whatever reason, can be used as projectiles to destroy these boxes. How is that possible? Well, if I have to guess, maybe they have the same sort of destructive force potential with being able to break through windows and everything, but the newspapers are flat. They're just plain flat. Lay flat and not rolled up into a bar of any kind whatsoever. So why the heck is it that they're able to destroy those alarm boxes is a good question within itself. And that, my friends, is video game logic. No, I'm not trying to steal Slim Curry's shtick, but my tagline is, I question video game logic, and I'm doing so right here and now, and I don't care. How you doing, buddy? There you go. Be a good boy and destroy the box for me. Now, at this point, I think with the 3rd and final box, you'll only be able to use enemies as projectiles, so that is something worth mentioning. Okay, well with that, Murray's job is done. Overall, very, very simple mission. I don't think there's any way you can quote-unquote fast travel back to the safe house, so you kind of have to make your way back yourself. So that is kind of lame that you have to do that, but oh well. What more can you do? I'm kind of surprised the big guys didn't come around and about to murder my day. Okay. Now, like I said, Murray's jobs are all done for right now, so we have to return to the safe house in order to switch back to Sly. After we do that, we'll be able to take on the remaining jobs that are in this area, at least for right now, until the next part of the operation begins. And thankfully, they should be able to get done relatively quickly. And now that we have Mr. Acrobatic Gonzalez here, we should be able to complete the next few jobs with relative ease and fairly quickly. Maybe we'll even find more clues along the way. Speaking of clues, here's one right down here. There we go. That's 25 down, only 5 to go. Now we're 95% done when it comes to clues. Or at least when it comes to the first episode. There's still 5 left to find, and I'm sure we'll be able to find them in good time. Okay, let's go.
Hold it, Cooper.
Constable Neela. Another policewoman hot on my tail.
Please. I led you here.
So that Claw Gang slip was a clue. Why are you helping me out?
I'm not as black and white as Carmelita. I know what a menace those Clockwork parts are, and I don't want the likes of the Claw Gang putting them to use.
So what? It takes a thief to catch a thief?
Something like that. But if I'm going to trust you in this case, I need to know that you can keep up. Literally.
Literally?
Don't fall behind.
Sly, hold down the R1 button to run. You'll need it to keep up with Constable Neela.
Okay, so in this mission, we need to follow Neela. I almost want to call her Nia because reasons. Oh my god. Jump on the thing. Thank you. Good god. Okay, so if you fall too far behind, Neela will, I think she'll temporarily stop in place and allow you to catch back up to her. Though I think if you take too long, she'll just move on ahead and you'll fail the mission. So, try to keep up with her as much as humanly possible. Holding down the R1 button to run is honestly the best way of keeping up with her. Though you will be attracting quite a bit of noise throughout the course of the mission. That's alright. So long as you're able to keep up with your objective, that's all that really matters the most. Although I think you'll be more than capable of keeping up with Neela as you're going through this mission. In fact, you can practically overtake her in many, many instances. Sly just moves that gosh diddly dang fast. Okay. And I think at some point we'll be moving on to the next part, which is right now, actually. Come on, Neela. Oh, hello.
Well done, Sly. We should work well together.
Glad you approve.
Now, legally, I can't enter Dimitri's nightclub without a warrant. But I happen to have obtained a key to a back door, which a person like yourself can use however he pleases.
Oh, we are absolutely going to work well together.
Well, okay, that's nice. Job's already done.
Inside the disco will require my demolition skills. Head on back to the safe house. I should be all geared up for the field by the time you arrive.
Sounds cool. Now then, since we,
Fine art back to the safe house in one piece, we can sell it on ThiefNet for a ton of coins.
Okay, as I was trying to say, now that, since we, took that, painting out of, Dimitri's office before, these other objects are going to be scattered throughout the different parts of this map here. And, as a result of that, if we find them scattered around and about, we can actually pick them up and just take them with us back to the safe house. Just, again, be sure to return in one piece, and you should be able to bank some serious cash. Although, unlike the painting in Dimitri's office, if the object gets knocked out of you and just lost, you can just return to where you found it originally and try again. There is one more thing worth noting, and that is, in later episodes, we may find these objects just scattered around and about. However, they'll have a bomb strapped to them, so you would need to book it back to the safe house very, very quickly Otherwise, the item explodes on your back, and I don't know if it's a one-hit death or not, or if it just damages you. But regardless, it is something worth mentioning for later episodes. Episode 1, you don't have to worry about that kind of BS whatsoever. So, that's pretty nice. Ooh, email. What is it? It is YouTube telling me that Did You Know Gaming has uploaded a video. Also, another trophy. Heads or tails? Not sure what that's all about. But I guess I'll find that out later. Let's buy the Fist of Flame. So as you're going through the game, more and more upgrades will become available as we progress and go into further future episodes. For right now, there's only like 3 upgrades available for the initial part of the game. 1 for each character, but even so, it's definitely worth picking up each and every single upgrade you can. You never know when they may come in handy. The Fist of Flame, for example, is a incredibly powerful ability for Murray. So what that does is, upon activation, it will cost some energy to use. But upon using it, you can punch an enemy and literally set it ablaze and kill it in one hit. Regardless if it's a little guy or if it's a big brute. Just keep in mind though, I think if you get hit, you lose that power. But it's not like it's permanently lost. You could just reactivate the ability and use it again. Just saying though, try not to get hit beforehand, unless absolutely necessary. It's also very useful for getting rid of a bunch of enemies incredibly quickly. Alright, with that done, on to the next mission.
Okay, Sly. There's the power boxes which route to the printing press area. To take care of them, I'll need you to put a splice clip in those spotlights.
Sorry, Bentley, but those fans are spinning way too fast to walk on.
They can be slowed down from this control panel, but you'll have to do a lot of pickpocketing to get at it. The guards are carrying special fragile keys that will be destroyed if you attack. Make sure you pickpocket their keys before you take those thugs out.
Okay, so...
Pickpocket guards, sneak up behind them and press the circle button.
Okay, sounds like a pretty easy task. All we have to do is just sneak up behind, pickpocket them until we get the key.
Keep picking his pocket. Sometimes you have to dig a little.
Just like that. Boop. And good night. And I think after this mission, it'll be more likely that you'll find items such as the bronze hair comb and stuff of that nature in the deep pockets of enemies that are just roaming around about. So that's a pretty quick way of getting some serious bucks. Definitely well worth your time to just sneak around and try to steal as much coins as you can, or as many coins as you can. Sorry about the bad grammar. Eee. There we go. Another key.
Check 1, check 2. Solid. Dimitri on the mic with a shout out to all my nightclub samurai. Stand tall and feel beautiful. I hear there's some raccoon dude giving us static. If you all spot this crackerbox, bam! Make him unhappy. Take no prisoners. Go hardcore. Extreme. All over his face. Okay, peace out.
Okay. That was a pretty funny conversation. And good night. Seriously, pickpocketing these guards is a pretty easy task. Just for the love of God, don't get too close, otherwise they will instantly spot you as if they had ultra instincts. But, even so, you can get up close and personal, but not close enough to the point where they're practically touching you. If you touch them, they will start retaliating. And if they retaliate, the mission is going to result in a failure. I think even getting spotted will result in a mission failure. Maybe not right away, but after you make your grand escape. Just saying. There we go. That's number 4. And good night. Okay, what else can we find down here? Oh, hello, another guard. Although smashing that table was probably not my brightest of ideas. There we go. Another one down. One more to go. Although I'm probably going to have to be kind of stealthy here. Hope he doesn't come back here. Come on, turn around. Thank you. That's a good boy. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? You are. You're a good boy. And now you dead boy. You a dead boy. Good night.
Now head for the control panel to slow down the fan.
Okay, well with that, that's all the keys that we need. So all we have to do now is just head to the control panel up the stairs here, and bada bing bada boom! Mission will be done. However, once we activate the control panel, we'll then have to start jumping across the fans.
Looks like the fans have stopped. Use them to get on top of the main chandelier and insert that splice clip.
Sounds good. Let's go. Alright. Okay, one more thing worth noting is, if you make progress during one part of the job and then you suddenly abandon it, all progress that you made during that mission is lost. So, that is something worth mentioning.
I'm overriding the spotlight security guns. That should do it. No more security in the printing press room.
Excellent. Another job down. Another job down. Let's get out of here and move on to the next one. Now, one thing that's definitely worth noting is, as you're completing one set of jobs, new ones may pop up over the course of your little
Pickpocket all the guards around the nightclub. Try to find guys carrying shiny loot in their back pockets. We can pawn the good stuff for a lot of coins back here in the safe house.
Very true. So, like I mentioned, these guys are going to start carrying around valuable items, which you can sell back on the Thief Net. Though not everyone is going to have these items. I think most of the time you'll find these items carried by the big brutes with flashlights and guns. So, pickpocketing these guys are definitely well worth the time and effort. Although you may not get very lucky sometimes, so that is kind of unfortunate. It's a kind of a risky sort of maneuver, but as long as you're nice and stealthy, quiet, and don't make a whole lot of noise, you'll be fine. It's no problem, dude. No problem, brat. You're good, fam. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. Just throwing around random terminology because lol. Random cat. Don't you just love those random cats occasionally? Just meowing and screaming off the top of their lungs. I could have swore I heard a bouncing bottle. Maybe it was just my imagination. Well, regardless, we're almost done with bottle collecting. There's only 4 left. Okay, so at this point in time, there's only one job left to take on, and this is a job for Bentley. So, with that in mind, let's head back over to the safe house, and then we'll switch to him and get moving. Oh, hello! Another clue. 2 more to be exact. Although I think I can just skip doing that. Boop. Having a good keen eye is the key to being able to not only navigate the worlds that you'll be exploring, but also surviving as well. Okay, come on. Give me your money. Goodbye. Man, I love doing the stealth takedown. I think at a later point, we'll be able to purchase an upgrade that makes our stealth takedown even more effective. So in other words, it won't make nearly as much noise as it does now. Another thing that's worth noting too is if you happen to get spotted, you won't be able to enter the safe house until you lose the fuzz, if you know what I mean. So, I figure I'd throw that out there.
Talking about me, my friend? Well, I'm not seeing anyone else here, so you must be talking about me.
Okay. Now that that's done, let's go ahead and pull up Bentley and get moving. So Bentley, unlike Murray and Sly, he's more of a tactician, if anything. His specialty is just using sleep darts, putting enemies to sleep, and then blowing them up as if he was frickin' Michael Bay. How does he do this exactly? Well, first off, you have to bring up your Panopticon, which also brings up an aiming cursor. This cursor can then be used to point, see an enemy, just push R1 to fire your sleep dart, and then push triangle to walk up to that sleeping enemy and blow him away. Bentley, I think, can only lay one bomb at a time, and it does take a little bit of time for that bomb to detonate. So that is something worth mentioning too. And just like with the Sly, he cannot take on the big brutes alone. So if you see one and happen to get spotted by one, run for the hills. Your ass is cooked if you stick around.
Okay, Bentley. To get past the laser fence, you'll need to blow it up. Press the triangle button to drop a bomb, and then get out of the way before it explodes.
Good night, sweet prince. I think Sly was also going to bring up a tutorial about how to bring up your sleep darts. Speaking of sleep darts, in the original PlayStation 2 release, every time you fired one, you would hear a sound of Bentley reloading his sleep dart. Speaking of sleep darts, you can only fire one every couple of seconds, so you can't exactly spam it like a semi-auto weapon like Call of Duty. You can't do that. It acts more like a sniper rifle, if anything.
Hey, Bentley, how you holding up out there in the field?
Fine, I'm just fine. I just need to bomb all the pillars supporting that disco ball and I can get out of here.
What's with taking out the disco ball?
Its impact will shake the nightclub's front peacock side loose from its mooring. Look, I can't talk now. I've got to keep moving, keep safe.
Oh man, I love Bentley so much. Okay, that's the first one down. On to the next one, which should be pretty simple enough. Just point, aim, shoot, and blow things up like I'm frickin' Michael Bay. Bada bing, bada boom, baby. This mission is a really simple one, all things considered. One more thing worth noting too is, just like with Sly 1, the coins only stick around for a short period of time, so grab them as they appear, otherwise they will vanish. One more thing worth noting too is, with the bomb throw power-up, we can just pick up the bomb that we have and just throw it. And it doesn't cost any weapon energy whatsoever, thankfully. Unlike other abilities of which Bentley will get his hands on later on. Speaking of bombs, if you happen to stick around its blast radius zone for too long, you will receive damage, and it will hurt a lot. So, try not to stick around the bomb any longer than you need to. So, yeah, that's really about it. And down it goes. And another freaking ant. Oh, god damn it. Hang on.
Wow, Bentley. We felt that all the way back here at the safe house. And you were right. The Peacock sign had half of its bolts pop off on impact.
Okay, cool. Job is complete. Now I have an ant to flush down the frickin' toilet.
Okay, fellas, the dominoes are all in place. Time to pull off the big heist. First, Murray will help me break into the old water tower. From there, I should be able to shut down the plaza fountain. Dimitri's sure to send someone out to get the repair truck. Sly, you'll pickpocket the truck keys off this guy once he shows up. Then hand them off to me and Murray in the plaza. We'll go steal the truck while you climb to the top of the nightclub's Peacock sign. When you're in position, Murray will fire the truck's winch line up to you and will use it to pull down the sign. If my calculations are correct, the impact should create an entrance to the printing press room. Then, Sly, you jump in, grab the Clockwork tail feathers, and we all get the heck out of here.
Cool. Well, at this point, now that we completed enough jobs, gathered enough intel, we can now start heading towards or more or less we can start the operation of the episode. So, before we get started, I need to use the bathroom, I need to flush this frickin' ant down the frickin' toilet, and I will be right back. Okay, I have returned. Oh, man, I'm glad I got that out of my system. Anyway, let's continue. So, now that the operation is about ready to begin... Funny. Anyway, one more thing that's worth noting is I believe every single operation can only be started as Sly. And also, one more thing before we head out. At this point now, once you start the operation and complete it, you won't be able to hear any more conversations from the big bad themselves for each of these episodes of which we complete. Okay, I'm wrong. I guess some operations are started with different characters. I figured that Sly was the one who started it, but I guess not. Alright. With that in mind, let's go ahead and start the operation, which is Operation Thunderbeak. Come on, let's go.
Come on, chum. Let's get to that water tower.
Okay, here we go. Operation has begun. Our first task is to head to the water tower and then start doing some serious work. Although the water tower is kind of occupied right now. Okay. Cool.
Jump into my arms. I'll toss you up there.
Sounds cool. Okay, let's try that again. And this time, let's not be an idiot. Oh man, how the heck did I miss that? It would help if I could see. Okay. This is not that hard. Oops. Okay, what the heck? Maybe Murray's using too much force. There we go.
You're gonna have to blast your way in.
Okay, that was dumb. There we go. Whoa, okay. Game, why were you being weird?
Which valves do I turn to divert water pressure from the plaza? To change the flow of water through a valve, I should press the circle button.
Okay, so let's go ahead and change the water flow. This should be pretty simple enough. It's a small little easy puzzle, which I think if you turn each of the valves before turning the first one, you should be okay. The solution should be a pretty simple one. There we go.
Success!
Sly, the water pressure to the fountain should be disabled.
It's off all right. They're already sending out the repair guy to fix it up.
Pickpocket the keys to his repair truck without being seen.
Sounds fun. So whenever you're doing an operation for each and every episode, you will be alternating between all three characters. However, there is one person who starts the operation most of the time. Oh, sweet, silver hair comb. Boop. Seriously, that didn't work? Did they nerf the smoke bomb in this version? Because I feel as though it should be more effective than it actually is. Okay, come on. Give me your money, boy. There we go.
Okay, head back to the fountain to make the exchange.
Sounds good. Let's get moving. Now that the repair truck key is ours, it's time to begin Phase 2.
It's all you.
Let's head out for the repair truck.
Okay, now the repair truck is pretty simple to locate, believe it or not. I think we've actually seen this truck before. Yeah, it's over towards the nightclub's back door. By the way, I've forgotten to mention this, but the throwable bombs which Bentley has, they're remote controlled. So once you throw them, you have to push the button assigned to it again to detonate it.
I'll take the wheel. I know how to drive a stick shift.
I need to get in position on top of the nightclub's peacock sign for Phase 3.
Okay, so not only are we switching characters, we're also switching perspectives of each and every character. So despite us technically seeing this part earlier, we do have to go through this again, this time as a different character from their perspective. Of course I wouldn't slip and fall. So that is a pretty cool idea, how each character has their own perspective of the different operations and jobs. So that's awesome. Definitely can appreciate that. Dang, Murray, a little fast, don't you think?
We're just driving up right now. Get ready to grab the tow harpoon.
Okay. There's no sort of targeting indicator whatsoever, but with a little bit of trial and error, just push the R1 to fire and you will eventually be able to get this.
Bad shot. Ooh.
Oh, come on, Sly.
Whoops.
Are you serious? There we go.
Pull away.
Sly, the guards are onto us. Protect the truck.
Oh dear. Well, at this point now, we have to temporarily defend the frickin' repair truck. The repair truck has its own health bar, and if it runs out or if you die, the mission ends in failure, and you'll have to redo this section again. Thankfully, it's not the most difficult thing in the world. Just bash everyone who dares to get near the frickin' repair truck. Speaking of which... Get over here, boys. You want to party? I don't know if you two can damage the truck as well, but be careful when trying to combat the enemies that are near the truck. And there's also no way to restore the truck's health. So if it takes too much damage, the mission is over.
Behold the majesty of gravity and inertia.
That was real subtle, Bentley.
Okay, you jump in, grab the clockwork tail feathers, and we're out of here.
If only it were that simple, my friend. If only it were that simple.
So raccooners do this. Like totally bumming my house up and bringing me down. So very uncool. Why can't you let birds and bees be free, bro?
Listen, Dimitri. You have no idea what you're playing with. It'll bring more than your house down.
Look, bro. I see you are a tough cowboy. A man with taste, style, vision, a connoisseur of finer things. Like me. Look, I'm sure the two cats in a bag like us can work something out. Yeah? We smooth. Look. See the money. You like the money. You can take all you want. I can.
No deal. You and the rest of the Claw Gang have to be stopped. Clockwork will never again see the light of day. Just hand over the tail feathers and we can...
What is this with clocks, bro? Have you no vision? Are you hearing what I beam to you? You think you have juice? Don't show me a little mind when talking about such big things. You think you can swing the bat? Show your bling and let me shine you.
I have no idea what you're saying. And your suit sucks.
Let's dance!
Okay, folks, it's time to fight Dimitri. Ow, that hurt. Okay, direct confrontation may not be the best of ideas. So basically, all you have to do is get up close and personal and just whack the ever-loving crud out of frickin' Dimitri. And try not to get killed yourself, otherwise you will have to redo this whole fight, which may end up be happening here for me. Ow! And not getting shot is also optimal. Dang it!
My suit is greasy sweet.
Funny. Okay, let's try this again. Damn it! I didn't think he would shoot twice in a row, but lo and behold, that's what he does. By the way, these containers can be used as cover whenever Dimitri hightails it and tries to start shooting you with his magical powers, I guess. Ah, damn it! The pillars can also be used as a means of cover, too. Though, just keep in mind, though, that you can only use them so much before they eventually give way. Okay, how did I get hit there? I think most of the time you won't be able to find any sort of health power-ups throughout the boss fights whatsoever. God damn it. Come on, Dimitri. Let's dance, little boy. Okay, did I just phase through the ground temporarily, or was that just my imagination? Got him.
You take clockwork feathers and my counterfeiting operation. It's past tense.
I'm doing you a favor. What kind of thief prints money? There's no honor in that.
You crackerbox.
Well, there we go. Operation is a success. And now we have the Clockwork tail feathers. And we're 8% done with the game.
My gang and I had done it. The Clockwork tail feathers were ours, and Dimitri's counterfeiting operation was ruined. Due to the untimely arrival of Carmelita, my escape got a little tricky. Angry at having just missed me, she took it out on Dimitri, shutting down the nightclub and throwing the frustrated forger behind bars. The gang and I headed out of town for a week in Monaco. I figured the team had earned themselves a well-deserved break.
Okay, folks, there we go. Episode is complete. However, we're not completely done yet. We still have a little bit of work left to do before we can start episode 2. There's still a few more clue bottles left to find, and as you can see, we're 95% done. Once we find the remaining clues and also open up the safe and grab the reward that's inside, the episode will be 100% complete. So, let's hop back in there and find the rest of the clues. Let's go! Okay, I think some new power-ups are available. Okay, guess not. New power-ups will only become available after, I think they'll only become available after you start the next episode. So, that is something worth mentioning, I guess. Alright. You can return to any episode that you previously completed by means of just simply selecting that episode and just hopping back in. The reason why you would want to do this is of one of two reasons. Either A, you missed some clues like I did, or B, you want to farm some coins. You can do either one of those things and still make it out okay. You may even find some items out here too to make some serious bang. But sometimes luck is not necessarily on your side. Just like with me. It's not very often I've found items. I've only found 2 of them at this point, at least from pickpockets. As far as other ones, I have found like, okay. I don't think you can climb on top of this thing under normal circumstances. It seems like you should be able to without too much of a problem. But I guess because the roof's geometry is too steep, you can't really jump on it. Oh well. Like I said, there are still 2 clues lying around about. There is one more thing worth noting though. And that is, this game does have cheat codes. And the cheat codes, you can find them on the internet and just input them via a button combination. I think you can do that whenever the game is paused. Input the combination and a cheat can become activated. Though, I think most of the cheats in this game are purely cosmetic. And I think there's one which you can use to activate and restart an episode if need be. But I'm not too sure if it can completely reset the episode once it's completed. But I could be wrong in that regard. I think I've tried it once before and it didn't quite do that. Instead, all it did was send me back to the safe house at the very start. That was it. As far as other cheats are concerned, I think they do things such as grant you a big head, big feet, etc., etc. Well, dang it. Okay, well, that could have most certainly gone better. One more thing worth noting too is some of the mission areas that you've been to previously are now locked off. Though areas of where the safe is located, it's always accessible. You can always access the area where the safe is located, no matter what, even if the episode is fully completed. So if you're worried about not being able to unlock the safe by the time you finish the episode, don't worry. You can still go back in there and grab the safe at any time after you collect all the clues in the episode. Okay. Now the hunt officially begins. We just got 2 clues left to find, which I have to say, the progress we've made here was truly magnificent. I'm very happy with the progress that we've made throughout the entirety of the episode. I really am. I'm very surprised that we managed to finish within like 2 hours. Granted, the first episode is the easiest out of all of them, to be expected, of course. Even so. Still nice to see. Oh, hello. Looks like we have all the clues here. Boop. Alright, let's grab one more and then get ready to book it to the safe house.
With that last clue, I should be able to crack the code to the vault.
Awesome.
Inside and let's see what they're hiding in that thing.
Okay, before we head over to the vault, there is this item here that's just lying around in the world. I don't know if these items count towards 100% completion or not. I don't think they do. They're just there as optional goodies. So if you're in need of cash, which, trust me, you're going to be in need of for later upgrades throughout the course of the game, you can just find them lying around about. And if you manage to take them back to the safe house in one piece, you're good. You're golden. Everything is fine. Okay. Okay. In we go. Now that the item has been successfully delivered, we can sell it at any time, which I am going to go ahead and do so after we grab the item that's within the vault for this episode. So that is freaking sweet. Although at this point, I may just keep going. Despite us completing the first episode within 2 hours, we may be able to start the second one and make quite a bit of progress. Then again, maybe it's a better idea to just save that for the next play session. Yeah, that's probably the best idea, best course of action. Okay, so now that we're back here, we can just simply make our way back over to this office area here, and also take out anyone who dares to stand in our way. Like this. Or just pull off a vanishing act and just mosey on out of there. Honestly, that's probably the best way of going about things. Ow! Dang it! Thankfully, whenever you do receive damage, you do have temporary invincibility. You know you're invincible when Sly or any character you're playing as is flashing red. They'll only be invulnerable for about a few seconds after receiving damage, so be sure to use those iframes wisely. Okay, down we go. I'm not sure if we needed to take the vents again or not. Best not chance it. Let's open this thing up.
It took some higher level math, but I believe the code to Dimitri's vault is 231.
What a simple combination. Ooh, the S is this. Knockout dive.
You've gotten the knockout dive move.
Sweet. So, the knockout dive move, it has made its return from Sly, Cooper, and the Thieves Raccoonus. Much like the smoke screen before it, I believe this move does use energy. Yes, it does. It allows you to move around a little more quickly, and it's also useful for taking out enemies relatively quickly, too. Also good for doing like a couple of stealth hits here and there. But really, it's not the most useful thing in the world. It really isn't. It's more so useful for getting the heck out of the area as fast as possible. So in other words, it's more so useful for speed, if anything. Okay, well with that, we're basically done here. So before we close this session out, I'm going to go ahead and sell this item that we've had, or we managed to steal not that long ago. Afterwards, we'll call it a day. Overall, this was a very productive first session, but as we continue to go through later episodes and everything, things will become more and more difficult. Trust me, it's going to be a wild ride. And funny enough, Sly 2, by many people's standards, is considered the best of the original trilogy. For many people. I don't know how I feel about which one's the best, as I feel like the third one is the best, though I haven't played Sly 2 in years, so I should be able to form an honest opinion by the end of the playthrough. Alright. Well, with that, we're done here. We are done with episode 1, so let's exit the episode menu and get ready to call it a day here. Oh, one more thing. Before we exit out of here completely, there's this option above episode 1 known as Watch a Movie. Here we can view all the movies that we've seen throughout the course of the game, and as we go through the game, more and more movies will become unlocked, and also some bonus movies will become available as well as we get closer to that 100% completion goal. So, the first episode only took an hour and 37 minutes to 100% completely. So, I gotta say, that's a really good time. Of course, I'm not speedrunning this game. No, I'd have to learn a lot of things if I'm gonna be doing something as crazy as that. But anywho, I'm gonna go ahead and... Oh, what's this? I think if you hang around the menu for a short period of time, a badge will flash on screen, and if you are fast enough and push the square button, you'll get access to a bonus movie, which can only be viewed by that instance. Though, I think it pops up every 10 or 15 seconds, something to that extent. Regardless, if you're idling around, you will be able to view that particular movie, which I will be showing off at the end of the playthrough. But for right now, I'm calling it a day here. So, yeah, I'm done here for today, folks. This is General Snivy with the Sly 2 Band of Thieves playthrough. Thank you all so much for watching, and if you were able to attend the live stream live, thank you for attending. Next time, we're going to be starting up episode 2 of Sly 2 Band of Thieves, and we'll be able to learn more about our next objective, the next Clockwork part of which we'll need to recover, and just figure out what the heck the Claw Gang is, how they came to be, why are they using the Clockwork parts for their own selfish goals, and what is their ultimate objective. All these details will be found out and more in the next episode of Sly 2 Band of Thieves. Thank you all so much for watching, hope you all enjoyed, see you all next time.